August 31st, 1998. Today was yet another day of watching one of the most beautiful women in the world. Her name is Mrs. Jennings. I got her schedule down, and when she came home, I was at her window to enjoy the view. I never get tired of watching her undress to reveal her perfect body. She can never know that I'm there watching her, admiring her. Her husband's a lucky man. September 2nd. I watched Mrs. Jennings again today. She had on herself a silk velvet robe, and the way she wrapped her hair in a ponytail was exquisite. I took a deep breath as I admired the view. When her husband walked in the room, he had a sour look on his face. I couldn't hear the conversation, but her husband threw something on the floor and the pair started arguing. I left when he grabbed her in a passionate kiss and threw her on the bed. If only I had that power over women. September 4th. Today was not a good day for Mrs. Jennings. She didn't undress as I had hoped, but instead threw herself onto the bed. Her husband came into the room with something hot inside of a cup and gave it to her. I hope she gets better so that I can enjoy the view once more. September 6th. When Mrs. Jennings undressed again today, she looked under her perfect and slender right arm and was disturbed by something. She poked at it, and something that looked rotten fell to the floor. It looked like it came from her arm. Her husband came inside after she called for him, and he wrapped a bandage around the area. When he picked up the phone, she gestured for him to put it down. I guess she didn't want to go see a doctor at the hospital. I don't blame her. I'm not a fan of those places either. I hope she's all right. September 8th. Mrs. Jennings pulled out a few locks of her hair as she brushed it in the mirror. Also, when she undressed again, there were black, rotten spots over her legs and back. When her husband brought her food, she promptly devoured it. He wore a surprised look on his face. What the hell is happening to her? September 9th. What I saw will stay with me for the rest of my life, and I will never be a voyeur again. Today, Mrs. Jennings turned into a zombie. I've seen enough horror movies to know what I was looking at. When she and her husband were talking, he was trying to convince her to go to the hospital, as she looked pale and sickly. Finally, she turned and fell upon her husband, biting him in the neck before she puked on him. There was steam coming from the spot she puked on, and when she took a couple of bites from his corpse, she looked up and saw me. Those glazed, white eyes. She rose up and made her way toward the window, moaning as she did so. I ran. I thought about going to the police, but what am I going to tell them? At best, I'd get laughed at, and at worst, arrested. Maybe I should load my gun, go back, and put her out of her misery. I don't know anymore.